Hello, this is take two. Hopefully, we'll get Bronwyn in just a moment. I've sent her the invite, and for some reason, the connectivity with my phone wasn't so good, and it actually cut out anyway, which was very annoying. So, Bron, if you can see me, hear me, and have received the invite, if you don't mind putting it in the comments, just saying hello and letting me know if you've got that okay, and then hopefully if you obviously just tag that. Hi Bron, did you receive an invite? I hope that you did. If you don't mind typing it in, or better still, just come on board, come up to the Facebook Live occasional interview series couch and join me. I'm hoping, hi Bron, hoping that she has got the invite okay. I've had problems when I've been interviewed in a couple of groups recently, including Lisa's group, who's, of course, a member of our group here. Oh, that's a yes. Hopefully that's a good sign. With her interviewing me yesterday in her group, and what I had to do was actually end up as the interviewee, starting the Facebook Live from my end and then inviting her to join me, which is what I had to do with Joy, if you remember that, Joy, if you're watching this or will watch the replay, which is really weird. I don't know why it does that. So I do hope that you're able to join us in a moment, Bron. What I will do while we're waiting then is just to give you a little bit of a background to why I wanted to start an interview series, and then, of course, why this topic and why with Bron right now. So I put it in a bit of I think I put it in a post last night generally anyway. I can hear and see you but don't know how to join. Did you actually get an invite? So when we start a Facebook Live, we get the option to invite a friend, and I clicked on that, and then all the member group names came up. So I ticked on your name. Then my understanding is that means that you actually receive the invite, Bron. So it sounds like, and it's, I know from my perspective, when I'm invited, it's obvious. There's something, I can't remember the exact wording, but it's along the lines of, you've been invited to join, this Facebook. I am now in the invite you sent, but there is no link to click. Ooh, that's annoying, isn't it? Sorry, Bron. Okay, and sorry, everyone. What I will do is, I don't know that I can go back without actually finishing the, okay, your live viewers. Yeah, well, that's, okay, bring Bron on camera. They'll receive an invitation to join you. I will actually see if I can do that. Oh, I'm adding you. Hopefully that means that you're going to be added in a moment, Bron. Let's see how that goes.
Yes,
Wow, we did it. Oh, high five.
We did. Hallelujah.
Exactly. Thank you, Bron. I thought all I had to do was what I did before, not realising there's probably, I don't know, another step to it. But anyway, doesn't matter. That's fine.
No,
we're both here.
We got here.
That's awesome. That's great. So thank you so much for joining me, Bron. What I will do is actually just talk a little bit, just as a bit of a preface for us having our conversation, and then I'll start to ask you some questions and get you to share away, if that's okay.
Great. Lovely.
Oh, awesome, awesome. Okay, so yeah, I was just saying that I posted last night an explanation, so to speak, of why I wanted to start a Facebook occasional interview series, and that was because I wanted to get to know all the members better, and I think it's great for all of us in our connections within the group to be able to learn more about each other, more about, obviously, of course, what we do in our business, but, as along the way, things that we do in the rest of our lives as well, and how the various areas or topics that I tend to sort of focus on as the theme or the main focus of the group, how it relates to us as individuals in the various areas. So I thought, okay, I'd actually seen your comments this week in my group, and then I think I might have even seen a couple of them in other groups around this realization that you've had about, for you personally, rebalancing or balancing your masculine and feminine energy. And I thought, that's, that's really dear to my heart. I'm fascinated by it. And I thought, that's great. It sounded like it was really quite a revelation. And I'll ask you more about that in a moment. And so I thought, okay, thank you, universe. Here's my opportunity to start some interviews. So I thought I'm going to be spontaneous and invite you, Bron. And I really do invite anyone who is watching, whether it's the replay or not, who is interested in being interviewed. It's not scary. It's not meant to be, drilling too deep. Oh, hopefully it's not scary, Bron. It's just a really great way.
No, not at all.
Well, when it works.
Unless I go, oh.
Okay. and I can see the picture of you when you're above me, so that does look a bit scary. No. And there's also a slight time delay I've noticed when I've been interviewed as well, but hey, that's fine. And it's a great way to actually get more comfortable with being on camera, with being on a Facebook Live, and of course for sharing your message and for sharing your wisdom about particular topics. So hence this is what Bron is doing with us today. And for me personally, as I was mentioning, talking about masculine and feminine energies, or the yin and yang, if we use those terms, where yin, Y-I-N, is the feminine energy, and yang, Y-A-N-G, is the masculine energy. It really fascinates me, and I actually refer to it quite a bit in my work with clients, because in my opinion, for us to be really successful, we really want to become aware of the energies that we're using at particular times, and if that's actually the most appropriate way, to go. And a lot of the time it is, but maybe not always. And I think what Bron might be sharing with us, expanding upon a bit more, is if there's a predominance of one energy more than the other. So I think your example is more of the masculine. And it is, I really do think it's fascinating. For me personally, I've found that I've probably had too much feminine energy with starting my business, because businesses as a whole, because they're action-based, will probably be more on the masculine side as a concept, or as a whole, as I said, but aspects within that are very much feminine. And this is a thing, it's not, just one or the other. It is definitely a continuum. But my predominance of feminine energy, it was challenging for me to do the masculine-based actions within the business, such as promoting, putting myself out there, doing this sort of stuff that, I wasn't comfortable to do to begin with. And that's where, for me, I certainly believe that it actually held me back. So I've learning to develop my and utilize, we have them. I actually think we have them inside us. It's a matter of utilizing them, tapping into them, becoming aware of them, utilizing them. And then I was able to utilize the masculine energy and move forward, which is great. So I think there's probably enough background, and we can start by asking Bron. Well, first of all, I think it's probably really useful if you could tell us a bit about your business, Bron, so that we can sort of set the scene, and who is it that you serve in terms of your clients?
Yes, yeah. Lovely. My business is Backstory Consultancy. For the last 18 months, I've been working with both men and women to help them to uncover the unconscious factors that are driving their lives, their backstories, the things that drive us, that sit just below the surface that we're often not aware of. And I've taken clients through programs to help identify those things, raise their awareness, identify, and then make some strategies. However, this year I have decided to niche my market. So I will continue to do that as people need it. But this year I have decided to be much more focused in my target audience, and now I am working much more exclusively with women who, like myself, have a domestic abuse background, because that is a foundational backstory to my life. So much of who I am as a person was formed in that space, and I know that I have moved from being a survivor to a thriver, and I want to be able to help other women take that journey as well, and to find what is their superpower that's come out of that backstory of domestic abuse, whatever shape or form that abuse took, because I don't want to denigrate any abuse. Abuse is abuse. It comes in a lot of forms.
Yeah. Completely agree, and sometimes it can be very subtle, can't it? And you know, it's a lot more than, unfortunately, than physical abuse, which is the one that a lot of, or perhaps sexual abuse that people might think of instantly. Yes. So, okay. So, thank you for that, Bron. That sounds really interesting. And how do you work with clients then, if it's somebody who has a backstory of some form of domestic abuse?
Well, I'm launching my new program next Wednesday, which is fantastic. I'm holding an event, which is my first targeted event for survivors of domestic abuse in any of their forms, and it's called the Sassy Women's Project. And it comes out of a vision that I received last year. You know, when you have those moments when you just get your pen and you go, right, and it just all poured out.
Inspiration.
I had no idea that, I had no idea at that time what I was going to do with it, but obviously now I do. So the Sassy Women's Project is so my 6-part vision about release, fulfillment. Now I'm just going to have a mental blank of them, but that doesn't matter.
That's okay.
So it's about women being released and fulfilled and using their intuitive genius, being transformed, celebrating. So it's about those things. There is a diagnostic sort of work involved around looking at what are the things that are holding us back and what are the things we can use to move forward. And then my last little section is about identifying what's your superpower, what's the thing that you have developed, what was birthed in that place that was difficult, that now really characterises your life. And my superpower is courage. But everybody is different. So, yeah, I want women to be able to come away going, yep, this is my story. It's so important to own it. But I'm moving forward now with what I've been gifted because of this experience.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's so empowering for the women, and it sounds like it has been for you too in your own experience. So that's great. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. So leading on now then to what I'm thinking have been some a revelation or some revelations about your masculine and feminine energy. Is there, and of course, please only share what you're comfortable with, but is there something that led up to it? Was there sort of a bit of a journey to get to that point, or did it just sort of bang, you know, it's hit you, or how did it evolve?
Well, it evolved starting off with recognising a couple of years ago that I have privileged the masculine voices in my life. Having grown up in, conservative Christian churches, it's a man who's the minister giving the message. Yeah. And then, I was involved with some network marketing in the 80s and 90s. And again, it was the men up on stage telling us what to do. When I did my degree, I looked on my bookshelf. Nearly like 99.9% of the authors were men. If there were women's voices, it was only like a snippet. And I realised that my life had been influenced by male voices. Now, there's nothing wrong with male voices, but I hadn't heard any I hadn't heard any women's voices, and I didn't value women's voices because I had not been taught to value them, you see. And so it's that was something that I knew, and I'd also matched together actually something that had come out of a counselling session. You come out of abuse And even just if it's an ordinary, like is like ordinary divorce, is there any ordinary divorces?
I know what you mean.
It's good to do some work.
Oh, for
to
sure,
sort
for
that
sure,
through.
for sure.
Yeah. And in this process of shifting, because I'm a fairly artistic person, and I drew who I had been, which was this buttoned down girl in like a pencil skirt and the buttoned up top. And then, you know, I said, this is what I am now. And I drew leaves blowing in the wind. And of course, got all emotional. But it was that sense of recognizing what I saw. I didn't identify it as the masculine, but that controlled, ordered person that I had been. And now I was moving into the more free-spirited feminine side. And my counsellor said to me, don't disrespect that button-down girl because she got you through.
Oh, for sure.
So,
that's right.
Isn't that amazing? Yeah.
That is. I've got goosebumps
So
as you're talking.
Sorry?
Sorry, I might have cut you off. I was just saying I've got goosebumps as you were saying that. And definitely you don't want to be... We're not about dishonouring the masculine energy. It's not about that. We actually need that. As I said, in for me to be getting my business, and I have, I've also gone through divorce, and the strength that I have now, I very much attribute largely to that experience. And it brought out the masculine in me because I had, unfortunately, from not just from the point of view of it being fairly combative, but the benefit for me was I was perhaps in almost the opposite with a view with my journey, that I was very much in my feminine pretty much most of my life. And so this forced, dare I use that word, me to have to utilize my masculine energy in a way that I'd never had to do that before, and both are necessary. And of course, I just want to make the comment for anyone who's watching that it's not gender-based. It's not that if we are women, we have, you know, we were only in our feminine. Probably, and it's a generalization, we probably naturally tend to lean towards that, but it's definitely not the case for everybody. And then the same for men as well. So, you know, we each, whatever our gender is, will have some degree in perhaps different proportions of our masculine and feminine energy. Yeah. So you'd reached that point in the counselling session with the picture, and then I'm gathering, if I'm correct, that there was some things that had occurred that sort of led to this, what appeared to be revelation just this week. Is there something there that you're happy to share about?
Yeah. I don't know. Like, I've obviously heard of yin and yang. But growing up in a Christian environment, we didn't go there.
No.
You know, because, you know, it was all just a bit blinkered. You know, but as I've grown older, my vision has got like this. And so I'm happy to take in understandings from a lot of, you know, right across the board, lots of different areas. And I think what the realisation was that I have been, again, probably in the early part of my business, again, sitting under the teaching of a man. Again, nothing wrong with that, but a really full-on masculine energy guy. Like, just, I don't think got any feminine energy whatsoever. And I was getting discomfort, emotional and mental, and sometimes even physical discomfort being in that environment and thinking, this doesn't sit right with me, but not knowing exactly what it was about. And I think what the realisation was, and I've decided to sort of step away from that business coaching. It's great coaching, got no issues with it, but it's just not right for me any longer. I think what you did was that you gave me words for what I was experiencing. I don't know that I had ever seen it as masculine energy and feminine energy. But when, I don't know, something came up in the group and that, you know, those words were have been used. And all my, you know, when you have those aha moments, the light bulb things, and you go, that's what it is. And it was that sense of now knowing I've got a framework for what I've been sensing and feeling. And it's not just me getting a bit antsy about stuff.
And yeah, exactly. It's so much more than that, isn't it? So how did that feel when you got that aha moment? How did that affect you?
Oh, a settledness for me, some clarity around how I was seeing things, but also then being able, I'm going to say categorize. I'll use that word. That sense of going, or recognizing, I see that sits in my feminine energy, that sits in my masculine energy. And it wasn't that one was right and one was wrong.
Mm-hmm.
It was just that they were different energies. And that was really helpful for me, particularly when, as I said, you know, with getting business coaching, I was being presented with a very masculine energy way of doing things. And my mind is going, yeah, I can see that, I can't do it. You know, it was just this thing, it didn't sit right. And now knowing that, look, that's perfectly okay, but I can't operate like that at the moment. Maybe I will, but I can't at the moment, and that's perfectly okay.
It is perfectly okay. That's great, and it's you know, it's wonderful that you've actually come to that realization, that awareness for yourself, because I think when we can do that, we are clear, you said about clarity, to make the best decisions for us that will align with that energy at that time. And then, you know, alignment is such a, you know, such an important thing, I think, for us, you know, whether it's life or business. And you're right, it mightn't be forever. And, you know, again, I'm not saying that we're either feminine or masculine energy. It's a continuum, and we will, it's like a wave. And that's actually, you know, and yin yang is about polarity. And there, you know, it's like the waves on the beach. There will be times when we are, you know, the waves are coming in, sometimes when the waves are going out, and then obviously all those points in between. And recognizing, as, you know, you're using the example of the business coaching, that helps you to understand why it's not gelling, if that's an appropriate word, or resonating with you, and then what it is more that is going to be more in alignment, as I said, for you currently. So that's great. So it sounds like that has helped you in regards to your level of awareness when you look back, your perceptions of things that have happened in the past. And how does it then, how do you see it impacting you then now, for now, and potentially perhaps going forward, perhaps in the near future anyway?
One of the things I had determined to do from the beginning of this year, and no, they weren't, you know, New Year's resolutions, but there is something about that flip over into a new year that often brings new understandings and new directions. And I had decided, determined, had an intentionality around allowing the universe, God, karma, fate, whatever name you want to give, that wonderful energy that makes our universe hang together, to allow that to bring things to me. I have been so often in my past operating out of masculine energy. I've been driven. I've been, you know, I've decided I'm going to do something and I'm going to make it happen, and I've done that. But now I've got to the point where when I find myself setting quite firm goals, or the temptation is, I get all churned up inside and I get so focused on doing that. I get focused on the task and I lose sight of what's around me. So to me, sometimes that's for me is a negative thing. So I've been intentional this year about allowing things to come to me, but then acting on them. So it's not like you're just sitting there waiting and going, bring it all to me. I'll give you a current example, something that happened this week. I was in I'm in a number of Facebook groups. They're all, you know, all fabulous. And there was an opportunity for me to go. I was invited to a luncheon yesterday for International Women's Day. They said, you might, like to come along and you could tell your story. And I thought, fantastic, great. Something had come to me. So I went to the link, but the cost was probably twice what I would normally spend on a luncheon. And I just didn't feel that sat right. And I spoke with the organiser and, we just decided that no, I wouldn't go. Later that afternoon, up popped something on Facebook about a free event last night in South Yarra. Now, I'm currently in Clifton Springs, so it was a train and a walk to get there. So, we're talking an hour and a half's journey, so I still had to do it. But, we greeted with a glass of Moët and Chandon. Hello, beautiful. But also a young woman who I had met through the business coaching, who I had been thinking about yesterday afternoon, who had not intended to go to this event until yesterday afternoon. She turned up. We spent the evening together.
Oh, that's beautiful.
So that's what beautiful. I'm saying about allowing things to come to me, acting on them. Like even with the first one, I acted on it. I went and had a look, saw what it was about, and then it wasn't something I felt I could do. And then again, you've still got to act on things. So it's not as though you're just sitting here letting stuff come to you. There is still that sense of taking action, that masculine energy side of things. But it's about relinquishing a bit of control as well as to the direction you're going. It's a little bit more weaving its way.
Exactly, because control it tends to be a masculine energy, and I think what you're describing is the feminine energy aspect of the receiving. And allowing, I think, those things, and it just actually that's a really lovely example. If we think of the yin yang, the symbol, as you know, there's traditionally it's the black and the white, and they're sort of, I think of them as being big apostrophe marks or something, and exactly they are. They lay side by side, and it sounds, that example you gave is, in my mind, is an example of that. That there was, as you said, you don't just passively sit there just doing absolutely nothing, expecting it all to for you to be able to receive it in that way. But so there was some of the masculine energy, but there was definitely the feminine, the yin part to the yang, which is that receptive energy as well. So that's great. That's a lovely example. And as you say, less control, so you are more in your feminine energy with that. And how did, when you think back, and of course what happened with you being able to go without having to pay and meeting someone there that you were able to really connect with and that you'd thought about, so there's lots of intuitive processes, I'm sure, happening there, and universal synchronicities, which is wonderful. So going forward then, how do you see yourself, if you've given yourself much time to see how that changes, either for your business and or for your life generally?
My beautiful partner uses the phrase called kick the carpet. Now, he is a bloke, so obviously has masculine energy, but he has a good deal of feminine energy too, which I just so appreciate. And he has this little phrase called kick the carpet. And he said, it's like you've got this carpet roll, like you're kicking a long roll of carpet down a hallway. You give it a push. So that's the masculine. But then you just walk along the carpet to wherever it happens to be. And then you find out what's there. And then you give it another push. And it's that sense of, I suppose maybe that kick the carpet is both masculine and feminine energies working there. Because you've actually got to make a decision about things. Now, and I'll give you an example from my business. I decided that I'm going to run a casual dinner event next week. So, I organised the restaurant, done my Eventbrite, done some, publicising of it. That's the masculine side of things. They're all the things I can control. But then I've sent out invitations, and sometimes I send out personal invitations. But then I have to do the feminine bit, and sometimes it gets really hard. I have to wait and see who responds. I might have to do something else and reach out a bit more. And sometimes I find it hard sitting in that feminine space because I want to go out and grab people, say, are you coming? But that's not what it's about, particularly working in the coaching space. You can't do that. And so allowing then the people for whom this event will be helpful to come to me. And it's, so it is always this balance, and it's never 50-50.
No.
But even as I'm talking this out with you, and I'm really pleased to have this opportunity, this is clarifying things. I'm getting more clarity for myself around what are the things I do that have masculine energy and what are the things I do that I have feminine energy. And, why do I find maybe sometimes I actually find sitting in the feminine space more difficult? Maybe because I've sat in that masculine space for such a long time and, liking to be in control and ordered and disciplined and, perseverance and commitment and, all of those words, but allowing myself to sit in the feminine space and know it's not just popping out. I'm not being lazy or anything like that. I'm just allowing my feminine energy to operate.
Because yes, it's as valuable, and I know we said this earlier on, but to reiterate that point, it's as valuable as the masculine energy. And again, if we think of the yin yang, the symbol, they are equal parts, absolutely. Yeah. And it's as you say, it's not 50-50, but also they are of equal value, of importance, of use, and we want to, at least, to me, the benefit of me learning about this sort of this way of thinking, and in fact now for me it's pretty much a way of life, is that I am aware when I'm more one or the other. And then I actually have a conscious choice. How can I, if I feel that I'm too much one way or the other, how can I bring that back? And perhaps that's a topic for another video, but more specifically. But you've given a couple of really great examples with the, as you said, the waiting with going to the event that ended up being a free dinner, and you connected with that woman, and then also now with you organising your own dinner for next week in terms of you're doing some action, but you're also in the feminine there and the waiting. And I think that we may well have our natural preferences one way or the other. I think most of us do, and that's fine. That's, it's like you said, it's not meant to be 50-50, but if we can be aware, as I said, and utilise it, and getting the best of both worlds, really, I think.
Yes. Yeah,
and then
indeed.
Sorry. Yeah, sorry. And utilising, in a way, you use the word superpower, which of course related to your business, work with women, with their histories. And I think the superpowers, when we know them, although superpower is probably a masculine word, but there is strength in both the masculine and feminine energy. There's definite advantages to both, and learning when to mix it up, when to utilise them. So is there any last words of comment or words of wisdom, any suggestions for us at all, Bron, you've got in terms of this? I know it's new for you and you may not, but any just concluding comments you want to make about it?
I think to value both. I think that's the one thing I am learning to do at the moment, is to value, and perhaps value the energy that is not your natural energy. As I said, I've spent most of my life in the masculine energy space and it has served me well. But now I need to allow myself to explore the feminine energy space but not to view it through a masculine lens, to actually appreciate that feminine energy operates differently to masculine energy. And just because it's different doesn't mean it's wrong. And to really value it and appreciate it and honour it in my own life. And I would encourage other people to do the same. So it doesn't matter, you know, whichever one is your maybe more, you know, most natural one, give it room, value it.
Oh, that's beautiful, beautiful. Well, I think that's a really lovely place to finish it there, Bron. But just as a quick reminder for either ourselves or someone we may know about your dinner event, did you say it's Wednesday of next week? Is that right?
Yes, March 14, at Camberwell, at the Barolo restaurant there. I've got an Eventbrite booking that I can pop the link in the comments probably at the bottom.
Yes.
That might be the easiest way.
Sure.
So certainly there are still places available if that would be of interest or help for anybody.
Sure. Look, please do put the link there. And that's right. If it's not, we don't feel that it's for us. If we're not perhaps in the, because am I right in saying that it is particularly for women who have had that the history with the domestic abuse? Yep. So there may well be people that we know, and we can pass on the event to them, the information about the event. So okay. So yeah, please do pop the link in the comments. That's great. Well, look, thank you so much, Bron. I really have enjoyed chatting with you, and thank you for being my very first Facebook Live occasional series interviewee, and you know, lovely exploring what a topic is, you know, a fascination to me. And I'm so pleased that you've had some aha moments, and it's changing the way that you're being, if I dare say, inverted commas, going forward in whatever way that means. So I'm really pleased for you, and thank you for sharing your take on it. I really find that fascinating, and I'm hoping helpful. I'm sure it will be helpful for everyone in the group. So thank you again. I will say goodbye, Bron. Anyone watching the replay, you are welcome to make any comments, ask any questions of Bron or myself, and encourage you to consider how the masculine and feminine energies play out for you in business and life. So with that, I will bid you all a wonderful rest of the Friday, and thank you again, Bron, and we'll catch up soon. Bye for now.
Lovely. Thank you. Bye.
You're welcome.